just been confirmed at Newcastle. There's a wave of urgency sweeping through St. James Park as 3 major updates have just come to light, and they could completely reshape the club's season. One of them has fans questioning the goalkeeper position after another underwhelming performance. Another involves a major shake-up in midfield, with injuries forcing the club to act fast before the window closes. And finally, a surprising twist involving a former target has just emerged, and it might have huge implications for Newcastle's future transfer plans. You won't believe who could be on his way out just weeks after a failed move to Tyneside. This is not the time to look away. These are the stories that every loyal Geordie needs to know. So make sure to hit the subscribe button right now and stay ahead of all the breaking Newcastle United news. Aaron Ramsdale is the name every Newcastle fan is talking about this week, and not without reason. After another painful performance from Nick Pope in goal during the 3-2 defeat to Liverpool, supporters are making it crystal clear it's time for a change. Ramsdale must start. Not next month. Not in a few games. Now. The match on Monday night was a great example of the team spirit Eddie Howe has built at Newcastle. Every outfield player ran themselves into the ground. They chased every ball, fought for every tackle, and showed that they cared. But unfortunately, one position let the team down badly. That position was goalkeeper, and that goalkeeper was Nick Pope. From the first whistle, Pope looked off the pace. And while the rest of the team battled hard, Pope didn't seem to have the same hunger. His reactions were slow, his movement sluggish, and worst of all, his confidence looked shattered. It's become a pattern that fans are tired of seeing. Let's take a step back and look at pre-season. While Ramsdale was busy impressing in his limited time, saving penalties, distributing the ball with accuracy, and commanding the backline, Pope was having a very different experience. Against Celtic, he misread runs and looked clumsy. Against Atletico Madrid, he stumbled and made basic mistakes. It was the sort of form that made fans nervous before the season even started. Despite that, Pope was handed the number 1 shirt for the start of the season. Some said it was loyalty. Others said Ramsdale needed time. But now, after 2 Premier League games, it's obvious that decision needs to be reversed, and fast. The first goal Newcastle conceded against Liverpool was frustrating. Bruno Guimaraes scored at the wrong end after a deflection off Scar. It was unlucky, yes, but also very much savable. Most fans watching thought Pope would get a hand to it. Instead, he stood completely still. No dive, no attempt, just watched it go past him. That sort of reaction simply isn't good enough at this level. Then came the second goal. A basic 1-2 move followed by a low shot into the corner. A shot Pope trains for week in, week out. In fact, it's exactly the kind of Finnish goalkeepers prepare for with deflection boards and repetition. But once again, no save. No stretch. Just another goal conceded with Pope looking like a statue. The third goal was the most frustrating of all. Everyone in the ground could see what was about to happen. The Liverpool player adjusted his feet, shaped up to shoot, and Pope had all the time in the world to get ready. But still, no reaction. No anticipation. No jump. It looked like he froze completely. Fans were left shouting in disbelief. And here's the big question. If the ball isn't fired straight at him, can he actually make a save? Because right now, it doesn't look like it. And that's the sort of worry no team can afford to carry, especially one with ambitions of qualifying for Europe again. To be fair to Pope, he was outstanding in his first season at Newcastle. He made huge saves, kept the team in games, and played a big part in the club's climb up the table. But since the shoulder injury, everything's changed. His second season was average. His third has started poorly. And fans have noticed. When Pope got injured against Brentford last season, Martin Dubravka stepped in, and results picked up. Coincidence? Maybe. But it certainly made people think. And now, with Ramsdale sitting on the bench, full of energy and experience, it's hard to justify leaving him out. Aaron Ramsdale is not just any goalkeeper. He's proven at the highest level. He's vocal, brave, and knows how to lead from the back. He distributes the ball better than Pope. He commands his area. And most importantly, he dives. He throws himself at shots. He fights for every save. That's exactly what Newcastle are missing right now. It's also about sending a message to the rest of the team. When someone underperforms, they should be replaced. That's what keeps standards high. Pope's performances haven't been good enough. If he keeps starting despite that, what does it say to the rest of the squad? Eddie Howe now has a decision to make, and the fans have made their voices heard. They want Ramsdale. They trust him. They believe he can bring calmness and quality back to the position. Pope can still be a valuable squad player. He can cover cup matches, rotate when needed, and step in during injury crises. But right now, Newcastle need more than that. There are big games coming. The Premier League is relentless. And if the Magpies want to keep pushing for a top 6 finish, they can't afford to lose more points because of goalkeeping errors. The rest of the team is playing well. The system is working. But the man in goal needs to match the energy and drive of those in front of him. This isn't about being harsh. It's about being realistic. Pope's time as number 1 might be over, at least for now. And if Howe wants to steady the ship and regain momentum, the solution is right in front of him. It's time to give Aaron Ramsdale the gloves. Conor Gallagher could be the key to fixing Newcastle United's midfield crisis, and the clock is ticking. After the painful 3-2 loss to Liverpool, Eddie Howe now faces an even bigger headache than the result itself. Injuries to Sandro Tonali and Joe Linton, paired with Anthony Gordon's red card, have left the squad stretched to its absolute limit. Now, with just days left in the transfer window, Gallagher is emerging as a realistic and urgent target. Newcastle didn't just lose 3 points against Liverpool. They also lost 3 starting players. Gordon was sent off for a reckless late tackle on Virgil van Dijk, which earned him a straight red and a 3-match ban. As if that wasn't bad enough, Fabian Schär had to come off with a head knock, and both Tonali and Joe Linton left the pitch injured. That's 4 players from the starting 11 potentially out for the next Premier League match against Leeds. It's a situation that could derail the season if something isn't done quickly. The biggest concern is in midfield. Sandro Tonali's shoulder injury looked serious, and Joe Linton pulled up clutching his leg, likely a muscle strain. After the game, Howe didn't sugarcoat it. He told reporters the injuries don't look good and admitted that both players might be out for some time. That leaves Bruno Guimaraes as the only fit member of the usual midfield trio, and that's simply not enough for a club with European ambitions. That's where Conor Gallagher comes in. The 25-year-old, currently at Atletico Madrid, is back on Newcastle's radar, and this time the interest is stronger than ever. Reports suggest Gallagher was already being tracked by the club earlier in the window. But now, with 2 key players down and the midfield threadbare, the Magpies are ready to act. Gallagher could be the answer they're desperately searching for. Gallagher isn't just a short-term fix. He's the kind of player who fits Newcastle's system perfectly. He's played in both defensive and attacking roles throughout his career. During his loan spell at Crystal Palace, he was involved in 13 goals in 39 appearances. He's got energy, strength, and a real engine. The type of player who can cover every blade of grass. More importantly, Gallagher is a fighter. He presses high, tackles hard, and never gives the opposition a moment's peace. Last season, he ranked among the top 15% of midfielders in Europe for successful tackles and defensive recoveries. That kind of aggression is exactly what Newcastle need right now, especially with Joe Linton, their midfield enforcer, on the treatment table. Newcastle aren't the only club interested. West Ham, Crystal Palace, Everton, Manchester United, and Tottenham are all said to be monitoring Gallagher's situation. But the Magpies might hold an advantage. They've got a working relationship with Gallagher's agency, Elite Management, the same group that represents Dan Burn. That could make negotiations smoother and quicker, especially with time running out. Gallagher reportedly earns just over £150,000 a week, and Newcastle would have no trouble matching that. The bigger question is how much Atletico Madrid would want for him. They paid £33 million for him last summer, so it's likely they'll want to make their money back, or more. Still, with the Premier League window closing soon, the Spanish club might be willing to talk if a solid offer comes in. Fans are already excited about the prospect. Gallagher ticks all the boxes: Premier League experience, versatility, stamina, and work ethic. He's also just entering his prime years, meaning this wouldn't just be a short-term fix, it's a signing for the future. When Toon Army and Joelinton return, Gallagher would still be a valuable squad member, able to slot in anywhere across the midfield three. What's more, Gallagher brings a certain attitude. He's not flashy. He's not arrogant. He's a hard-working lad who plays with heart, the kind of footballer Geordies respect. You can picture him now at St. James Park, chasing down opponents, winning tackles, and getting the crowd on their feet. The timing couldn't be more crucial. The midfield needs reinforcements urgently. With Leeds on the horizon and a packed schedule coming up, Newcastle can't afford to go into matches with a half-fit squad. Gallagher is ready to step in. He knows the league. He knows the pressure. And he's shown he can handle it. Eddie Howe now has a big decision to make. Go with what he's got and hope the injuries clear up quickly, or push the board to make a move before the window closes. If Gallagher joins, it could not only stabilize the midfield but also give Newcastle a boost going forward. He's the kind of player who can change the momentum of a season. This situation is no one's fault. Injuries happen. But how the club reacts will define the months ahead. Gallagher won't be cheap, and competition will be fierce. But if Newcastle are serious about maintaining their momentum and pushing for a top 6 finish again, they need to act like it. Gallagher is available, interested, and exactly what this team needs. The fans deserve a strong response from the club. The players need support. The manager needs options. And Gallagher? He just might need a new challenge. One that St. James Park is ready to offer. James Trafford is once again making headlines. And this time, the story is even more bizarre than the last. Just weeks after a proposed move to Newcastle United fell through, Trafford is being linked with a surprise loan switch to Turkey. That's right, after being bought back by Manchester City, the young goalkeeper could now be packing his bags again and heading to Beşiktaş. The story of Trafford's summer has been nothing short of strange. At one point, it looked almost certain he would be joining Newcastle. Talks were ongoing, and with Nick Pope's form dipping and uncertainty around Martin Dubravka's future, Trafford seemed like the ideal long-term solution. Young, confident, and already full of promise, he fit the bill perfectly. But then came a twist. Instead of signing for the Magpies, Trafford was brought back to Manchester City. The club activated their buyback clause after selling him to Burnley in 2023. It seemed like a smart move from City. Bring back a talented goalkeeper and develop him under Pep Guardiola's watch. Trafford even started the season as City's number 1, with fans and pundits assuming he was now part of the club's future plans. For a brief moment, it looked like Newcastle had missed out. Trafford was back at City, Ramsdale had just arrived, and Pope remained first choice, even if his performances were starting to raise eyebrows. But now, just 2 games into the season, it looks like Trafford could be on the move again. And the destination? Beşiktaş, a club that few would have expected to enter this story. According to reports from Turkey, including newspaper Politikum, Beşiktaş are very keen to bring Trafford in on loan. Talks have already taken place between the players' agents and the club's representatives. And here's another twist. The manager of Beşiktaş is none other than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Yes, the former Manchester United boss is now leading the Istanbul Giants and wants Trafford as his new number 1. It's a stunning development, especially considering Trafford only just returned to City. Why would a club bring back a player from Burnley, give him the number 1 shirt, and then ship him off within weeks? Well, it all comes down to performance, and perhaps a bit of pressure. Trafford was blamed for one of the goals in City's 2-0 loss to Tottenham, and despite Pep Guardiola defending him publicly, the rumours of another move haven't gone away. Trafford's mistake wasn't massive, but in a club like Manchester City, the standards are sky high. One slip-up can be enough to change everything. And with the club still being linked to experienced keepers like Gianluigi Donnarumma, it's no surprise that Trafford might be considered surplus to requirements, at least for now. From Newcastle's perspective, this must feel like a missed opportunity. Trafford was available. He was interested. The deal could have been done earlier in the summer. But instead, the Magpies moved for Aaron Ramsdale and decided to keep faith in Nick Pope. So far, that decision has divided fans. Ramsdale hasn't yet had a proper chance to prove himself, and Pope's form continues to spark debate. Now, with Trafford possibly heading to Turkey, Newcastle are left watching from the sidelines. And if he thrives at Beşiktaş, playing week in, week out, in front of big crowds, under pressure, he could return to City stronger, more confident, and even more valuable. That might make him unreachable in future windows. Trafford's case also reflects the unpredictable nature of modern football. 1 minute, you're linked with a Premier League club. The next, you're back at your old team. Then, suddenly, you're boarding a flight to Istanbul. It's a whirlwind, and for young players, these constant shifts can shape their entire careers. There's also something slightly ironic in this story. Newcastle were looking for a young, hungry keeper. Trafford was looking for a chance. But timing, as always, played a role. Ramsdale was available, and the club acted. But now, with Trafford back on the move, there will be some fans wondering if the club should have pushed harder to secure him when they had the chance. As for Beşiktaş, they're clearly serious. The club sees Trafford as a long-term project and someone they can build around. Solskjaer, in particular, is believed to be a big admirer of the England under-21 international. For Trafford, this could be a blessing in disguise. A move abroad can offer a fresh perspective, regular football, and a platform to shine without the constant scrutiny of the Premier League. Still, this whole saga will leave many Newcastle fans scratching their heads. How did a target go from being nearly signed, to playing for City, to now possibly ending up in Turkey? It's a lot to take in, and it shows how quickly things can change in football. One thing's for sure, Newcastle will keep an eye on how Trafford performs. If he excels in Turkey, it will be hard not to feel a sense of what if. Could he have been the answer to the problems we're seeing now in goal? Could he have pushed Pope sooner and given Ramsdale proper competition? Only time will tell. But for now, the James Trafford rollercoaster continues, and it looks like the next stop is Istanbul. So, Newcastle fans, it's been a whirlwind of news, but let's stay positive. First, the call for Aaron Ramsdale is growing louder, and that could mean we finally get the safe hands we need in goal. Do you agree Ramsdale should start now? Yes or no? Then, there's Conor Gallagher, a smart, versatile midfielder who could solve the current injury crisis and add real depth. Would Gallagher be a good fit at Newcastle? Let us know in the comments below. And finally, the James Trafford twist. Surprising, yes, but also a reminder that Newcastle are making waves in the market and aren't afraid to go for top young talent. Should the club have done more to sign Trafford earlier? What's your take? Your support is massive. Every like, comment and share helps this community grow stronger. You're the heart of this club, and your voice matters more than ever. Wait, before you go, check out this breaking video from Newcastle.